Hello guys, welcome back to Mr. Herring's 5th grade math. Our online lessons. Today we are starting our unit on measurement, and this is our first lesson. Today our objective, we will be determining what tools are appropriate for customary measurement, and we will also solve problems by converting customary length. So we're kind of combining two lessons into one, tools and conversion of customary length. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. You guys should have your journals with all the notes in your journal, so please feel free to reference those as we need to, okay? So we're going to go ahead and get started. So the tools and units. So when we talk about customary measurement system, this is the system that we use in the United States, all right? We use things like length, which is in inches, feet, yards, and miles. We have capacity, which is in fluid ounces, cups, pints, quarts, and gallons. We have weight, which is ounces, pounds, and tons. And we use temperature, which is degrees Fahrenheit. Again, these are the customary units, or the United States units, or the ones we use here in the United States, the customary units. Later on, we'll be learning about the metric system, which is a little different system. So you guys all have the STAR Grade 5 Mathematics reference material in your journal, and today we're going to focus on the length section of it. All right, so we're going to use all of these. And in class, I told you today to add the 1 mile equals 5,280 feet. And I also asked you to add 1 yard equals 36 inches. Okay, so 1 yard equals 36 inches. Those two are not on the mathematics chart, and I've always wished they would add them because sometimes it makes it a little easier for us if we have those two conversions. So you also have the measuring tools. We went over these in class today. We also did some highlighting. I told you guys to highlight things that we used. When we talk about measuring tools for capacity, all of these have in common we are measuring a liquid. Capacity is generally associated with liquid. And then weights and mass are solids. And we use things like triple beam balance, bathroom scale, a spring scale. And we did use a platform scale, all of these in science. Customary length benchmarks. These are very important benchmarks to remember. The benchmarks we use, we talk about an inch being about a paper clip. We talk about a foot being like a sheet of notebook paper. We talked about a yard being like a baseball bat. And we said that a mile was a really far distance, a long distance, like between two cities or two towns. Okay? So, for example, a refrigerator. Which unit would be best to describe a refrigerator? Well, a foot is like a ruler, so it's definitely not a foot. 12 inches is also a ruler. That can't be right. 6 feet is possible because I am about 6 feet. You guys are about 4 feet. So a refrigerator is about there. But 4 yards would be 12 feet. And we know that's not a reasonable measurement. So our best would be 6 feet. Think about a ladybug. Now this is not to scale. A ladybug is much smaller than this. A foot would definitely not be reasonable because a ladybug is not a ruler tall. Less than an inch, that might work. 3 yards is definitely out of the question. That's way too long. That's 3 yardsticks. Or 3 inches, that's 1/4 of a ruler. That's pretty close too, but I've never seen a ladybug that's 3 inches tall. So our best choice is B. And then a bicycle, from the ground to the top of the bicycle. If it was a ruler, less than a ruler tall, you guys would have a hard time riding it. So it's definitely not 10 inches. 1 yard, about a meter stick. Maybe a 1 yard. Well, 3 yards, you'd have a hard time getting on top of it. It was 3 yardsticks tall. And 3 inches, you'd have a very difficult time riding it. So the best answer here is B, 1 yard. Well, what about a clothes iron? Not many of us have a lot of experience with a clothes iron, but if I look at these measurements, 2 feet, so two rulers tall would be pretty unreasonable. That'd be a really big iron. 15 inches is still a ruler and almost a half. That's still way too tall. 8 feet, definitely not an iron for giants. So the best answer here is 6 inches. Okay. How about a USB flash drive? It's that little thing we plug into our computer. 2 feet, two rulers is not reasonable. I would not plug something that was two rulers long into my computer. That would be dangerous. 2 inches makes sense. That's possible. 6 inches, that's still way too long. And 11 inches is almost one ruler. That's way too long. So the best answer is B. A football, well, the word foot is in the word football. So that tells me that a football is about a foot long. That's a coincidence, but it does help us remember how long a football is. So 11 inches is the closest thing to a foot because a foot is 12 inches. So what would I use to measure the length of a swimming pool? Which unit would be best to measure the length of a swimming pool? Okay. If I used inches, could I measure a swimming pool by using inches? Yes, I would, but it would take a really long time. And centimeter is not a customary unit. We're still talking about customary units. So centimeter and kilometer are both metric units, so those can't be right. So the best answer would be foot. I would measure a pool length in feet. It'd be faster. So today I'm going to teach you the strategy called the big small strategy. All right, the big small strategy is a strategy that we use to help us convert or change one unit to another unit. So something to remember, when we are changing a big unit to a small unit, we're going to multiply. So when we're looking for a bigger number, we're going to multiply. But if we change a small unit to a big unit, we divide because we're looking for a smaller number. So let me explain that. This equal sign means that both sides need to be balanced. Just like the numbers have to be balanced, the big small also has to be balanced. And the way I do this is I first ask, look at the units. Which unit is bigger, yards or feet? And the answer to that is yards. So if yards are the big unit, then feet are my small unit. Well, I need a big and a small on both sides. So this side I have a big, so I still need a small. That means the number is a small number. Well, over here I'm looking for a B. I don't have a B, so this tells me that the number I'm looking for is a big number. And how do I make a number bigger? If I'm looking for a bigger number, I'm going to multiply. So I take my big unit and I multiply it. What am I going to multiply by? Well, ask yourself, how many feet are in 1 yard? And the answer to that question is 3. So 3 feet equals 1 yard. So how do I find how many feet are in 12 yards? Multiply 12 times 3, and I get 36 feet. Okay, this is tricky here. Just remember, you must have a B for big and an S for small on both sides. Start with the unit, that's easier, and then fill in the missing. All right, so let's practice that. So we're going to do 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 first before we do 7 and 8. We want to practice that strategy. So let's start with number 9. 4 yards is equal to how many feet? Let's start with my unit. My unit for yards is big, so feet are small. Well, if I have a B right here, I need a small. So this number is small, which means this number must be the opposite, which is big. How do I find a big number? We multiply. So 4 times how many feet equal 1 yard? The answer to that question is 3. So 4 times 3 equals 12. So 4 yards equals 12 feet. Okay? So let's do feet and yards for number 10. What's bigger, feet or yards? The answer is yards are bigger, so feet are small. That means the number 6 must be big, and I'm looking for a small number this time. So how do I find a small number? Well, the previous slide told me to find a small number by dividing. How do I make a number smaller? We divide. So 6 divided by how many feet equals 1 yard? The answer is 3. So that answer is 2. Again, a big and small on both sides, a big and small on both sides. So let's do feet are smaller than yards. So if I have a B here, I need an S. So I'm looking for a small number. This number is big. How do I make a number smaller? We make a number smaller by dividing. 12 divided by how many feet in 1 yard? And the answer to that is 3. So 12 divided by 3 is 4 yards. Okay? Yards are big, feet are small. I have an S, I need a B. I have a B, I need an S. So I'm looking for a big number. Again, how do I make a number big? We multiply. So 14 times what? Okay, 14 times what? How many feet are in 1 yard? The answer is 3. So 14 times 3 is 42. So 42 feet equal 14 yards. Now we're going to have a big one here. So miles are way bigger than yards. So I have an S, I needed a B, I'm looking for a, that's right, a big number. How to make a number bigger? We multiply. So if you look at your star chart, how many yards are in 1 mile? The answer to that question is 1,760 yards equals 1 mile. So multiply that by 11. So I won't have very much room here. So 0, 6, 7, 1. Drop my 0, 0, 6, 7, 1. And then add them. So 0 plus 0 is 0. 6 plus 0 is 6. 7 plus 6 is 13. 7 plus 2 is 9. And 0 plus 1 is 1. So the answer is 19,360 yards equals 11 miles. Well, what about 10 miles? Now, this one is not really multiplying, guys. Remember that trick. Let's go back here. Big. Oh, I made a mistake. I apologize. Yards are definitely not bigger than miles. Yards are my small number. So again, I'm looking for a big number. How do I find a big number? We multiply. How many yards in 1 mile? 1,760 times 10 equals. We learned that we're multiplying by 10. We just move the decimal one place to the right to make room for another 0. So my answer is 17,600 yards equals 10 miles. Okay? Now let's go back up here to number 7, number 8. I have 2 units on this side, but we're only going to focus on the first one for big, small. So my inches are small, my feet are big. So that means this number is big, this number is small. How do I find a small number? We divide. How many inches in a foot? The answer to that question is 12. So 78 divided by 12 equals 6 remainder 4. So this means I have 6 feet with 4 inches left over. 6 feet, 4 inches. Okay. Here we got 93 inches. Inches are still small, feet are still big. So 93 divided by 12, because there are 12 inches in a foot. So 93 divided by 12, 8 feet is 84 inches. And then 93 minus 84 gives me 9 inches left over. So 8 feet, 9 inches is the answer there. All right? Okay, good. Get some more practice. All right, unit to unit. 14 feet equals 4 feet equals how many inches? Feet are big, inches are small. I'm looking for a big number. How do I find a big number? We multiply. How many inches in 1 foot? The answer is 12. 4 times 12 is 48. Okay. Well, how about 11 feet? Feet are big, inches are small again. Again, looking for a big number. How do I find a big number? Multiply 12 inches and 11 feet. 12 times 11 is 132. Okay? Inches are small, feet are big. This time I'm looking for a small number. We divide to find a small number. 12 inches in 1 foot, so 48 divided by 12 is 4 feet. 48 divided by 12 equals 4. Inches are small, feet are big. I'm looking for a small number. So 84 divided by 12 inches, make 1 foot, equals 7 feet. So this one's a little different. Inches are small. That means I know I'm looking for a big number. So how do I find a big number? I multiply 8 feet times 12 inches in a foot, plus I have 4 more inches. So over here, 8 times 12 is 96, plus 4 more gives me 100 inches. Okay? Right here, inches again are small, so I'm looking for a big number. So how do I do this? I multiply, find a big number, so 6 times 12 plus the 2. 6 times 12 is 72, plus 2 equals 74 inches. All right? So how about comparing? Let's talk about comparing for a second, because we are going to run into times where we have to compare. Now, my advice is to always take the bigger unit and make it convert it into the smaller unit. I do this because it's always easier to multiply than it is to divide. So here, let's take 3 yards, turn it into feet. Well, yards are big, feet are small. I'm looking for a big number. How many feet are in 1 yard? The answer is 3. So 3 times 3 is 9 feet. So 8 feet is less than 9 feet. And here, miles are big, feet are small. So let's turn 2 miles into feet. So 2 miles equals how many feet? Feet are small, miles are big. I'm looking for a big number. There are 5,280 feet in 1 mile. So if I double that, 5,280 times 2, I get 10,560. So this is 10,560 is greater than 10,500. Here, inches are small. This is big. So I want to take 3 yards and 2 feet and turn them into inches. I know there's 12 inches in a foot. So if I have 2 feet, I have 24 inches. I know there are 12 inches in a yard. So if I have 3 yards, there are 36 inches in a yard. So if I have 3 yards, 36 times 3 is 18, 108 I have 108 plus 24. Put those together, I have 132 inches. So these are equal. Okay? So let's look at a multi-step problem for a second. Alicia has 55-inch rope. Mike has a rope that is 17 inches longer. What is the length of Mike's rope? Well, if I talk about inches, I would take Mike's plus what I know is 17 inches longer than this. If I add them, that's 12, 72 inches. I got to find out which one of these are equal to 72 inches. Well, 1 yard equals 36 inches, so I know that's not right. 5 feet equals 12 inches in 1 foot, so 5 times 12 is 60 inches, not 72, so that's not right. 2 yards equals how many inches? 1 yard is 36 inches, times 2 gives me 72 inches. That's the number I need, so the answer is C. All right? So Katie's driveway is 120 feet long. How many yards long is Katie's driveway? So 120 feet equals how many yards? That's what I don't know. How many yards? So yards are big, feet are small. How do I find a small number? I divide 120 divided by. How many feet are in 1 yard? The answer is 3. So 120 divided by 3. 3 goes into 1, 0 times. 3 goes into 12, 4 times. 0 is less than 3, good. Bring down the 0. 3 goes into 0, 0 times. So the answer is 40 yards. B. All right, so I'm going to let you answer these 3 questions. When you are ready, hit play and check your answers. This is a time for you to work these 3 problems out. Hit pause, and then when you're ready to see the answers, go ahead and hit play. So I'm going to let you pause now and work them out. Okay, so you're ready to see the answers? The answers are 10 feet is the first one. 3 feet 5 inches is less than 45 inches. And 46 feet is equal to 15 yards and 1 foot. Here, feet are bigger, small, looking for a small number, divide by 12. 120 divided by 12 equals 10. Here, take the big and convert it into the small. So 3 feet equals 36 inches, plus 5 inches gives me 41 inches, and that is less than 45 inches. Down here, take 46 feet, divide it by 3 yards, because there are 3 yards in a foot. It goes into 3 goes into 46 15 times, which equals 45, with a remainder of 1. All right, and that is the basics of conversion. Tomorrow we'll be doing the same strategy but using capacity. All right, so good luck. Come and see me if you have questions, guys. Watch the video again if you need to. See you guys later.